How many constitutional crises can one country stand? How many constitutional crises are we currently in? And when was the first one? For my money, the first one was on November 9th, 2016. But, you know, I'm not saying I'm right about that, except I do find it troubling that so many people in the United States of America, including it would seem both major political parties and the courts, seem not to have a problem with the fact that a hostile foreign power manipulated our election and helped elect the man who was more than willing to take said hostile foreign power's help. But let's pretend that the first constitutional crisis was on election day, November 2024, when 74 million Americans knowingly reelected a man who is a traitor to his own country, a man who incited an insurrectionist, a man who has proven himself time and time again to be both anti-American and anti-Constitution. There are many other instances, including much of the behavior and decisions made by the corrupt, illegitimate supermajority of the Supreme Court. Now we're facing yet another constitutional crisis because Donald has claimed that he is going to change the way we do the census and perhaps change the schedule of the census. In the Constitution, a census is required every 10 years. The next census should be conducted in 2030, in 5 years from now. Donald seems to want one sooner, but perhaps more troubling. I mean, and that's troubling enough, quite frankly, because that could well have a massive impact on the way in which the 2026 election and the 2028 presidential election are held. But more troubling is what Donald says he's going to change about how, or I should say, who is included in the census. The Constitution of the United States of America explicitly states that every single person living in America must be counted in the census. There are no exceptions. It does not matter what your status as an American citizen is. You must be counted for the purposes of drawing congressional maps and allocating congressional seats for every state. By changing that, we are indeed on a slippery slope. It is blatantly, inarguably unconstitutional to change that, to change the way the census is conducted and to change the people counted in it. But here's the perpetual question we face these days, considering the Supreme Court is controlled by that corrupt, illegitimate supermajority. If with some executive order, Donald decides to hold the census sooner or to exclude millions of people from being counted, what will that corrupt, illegitimate supermajority do? These are allegedly originalists who care so much about the intent of the founders. Will they read the Constitution and take it at face value, or will they find yet another way to accommodate a man they have placed above the law, to all of our detriment? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Barry Trump Live. It is wonderful to have you here. In a video earlier today, I talked about the fact that Donald is a cheater. He cheats constantly, and he's been cheating more and more openly recently. And he cheats because even he knows that he's a loser and he cannot win without rigging things in his favor. Today, I'm going to talk about something else we know about him. This is not a secret, but it really does need to be highlighted. He is a liar. He is a spectacularly pathological liar who is incapable of admitting the truth, even when he's caught in his lie. This afternoon, Donald addressed the press in the Oval Office, allegedly to honor Purple Heart recipients, something about which he does not care. But he could not resist the chance to lie about the reasons for his firing the chief of the Bureau of Labor Statistics last Friday. Let's take a look.
I was telling the president that he did the right thing in calling for a new head of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, because this shows that over the last 2 years of the Biden administration, the BLS overestimated job creation by 1.5 million jobs. Mr. President, that's a gigantic error. And I don't know if she's, I'm not.
Might not have been an error, that's the bad part. If it was an error, it would be one thing. I don't think it's an error. I think they did it purposely.
Whether that, you may well be right, but even if it wasn't purposefully, it's incompetent.
Right. One chart really says it better than anything. If you look at this is great. But this chart is pretty amazing right here. All new numbers. Okay?
Sorry, that tie. I'm having trouble seeing. Nice choice. I wish instead of amazing, he had used the word incredible, because that chart is unbelievable. Incredible, as in not credible. Those numbers are just pulled out of thin air to make Donald feel better about his pathetic self. He may as well have just drawn that chart with the same Sharpie he used to alter the map of the path of the hurricane he lied about. Here's the thing. The chief of the Bureau of Labor Statistics has as her job collecting data, organizing the data, and presenting them to the American people so that they have an accurate idea of jobs numbers, et cetera, et cetera. How many jobs were made, what kind of jobs, how many jobs were lost, unemployment rates, et cetera, et cetera. This is not a soft science. This is not a creative endeavor. It is based in facts. It is based on numbers. By the way, the guy standing next to Donald, an alleged economist, is a right-wing political hack and member of the Heritage Foundation, Stephen Moore, whom I have not seen or heard from for quite some time. He was much more prevalent in the first Trump administration. And yet, it's the chief of the Bureau of Labor Statistics who's getting fired for political bias, when every single person in Donald's orbit is incapable of giving the Americans the objective truth. All of it, all of their lies come to us through the frame of their own agenda. This comes after, as we mentioned, Donald fired the chief. Her name is Erica McIntyre, for the high crime of delivering accurate numbers in the July jobs report. The report provided an assessment of the job Donald is doing as our so-called jobs president. To state the obvious, he's doing a terrible, terrible job. AP News reported on Friday the report found that, quote, just 73,000 jobs were added last month, and that 258,000 fewer jobs were created in May and June than previously estimated, unquote. In other words, the relatively, not great, but okay, not abysmal jobs reports presented in May and June were revised downward. I don't know if you remember this, but during Biden's term, the opposite happened with alarming frequency. We would get terrible jobs numbers. We heard about nothing but those terrible jobs numbers. And then 2 or 3 months later, the estimates were revised upwards. And as we know, Joe Biden did an absolutely phenomenal job of creating jobs. But we never really heard that news because it always happened after the fact. Fake charts that Donald is creating or presenting in the Oval Office are not going to change the fact that the Trump regime seems incapable of creating jobs for American workers. And I would argue that they don't have any interest in doing so. Why? Well, because they are hoping that their network, their vast network of misinformation, disinformation, and propaganda is going to mislead the American people enough so that they don't actually know what's going on. What is one really effective way to do that? Deny them access to data. So as Donald was showing off his fake charts, a decision was handed down about his migrant prison, or I think more accurately, gulag, in the Florida Everglades. In some breaking news, a judge has ruled that a prison that has been dubbed by the Republican Attorney General of Florida, Alligator Alcatraz, must stop construction, at least for now. U.S. District Judge Kathleen M. Williams issued the temporary restraining order on Thursday after 2 days of testimony in Miami federal court, with plaintiffs arguing that the site skirted environmental laws while under construction. Judge Williams had a heated exchange with defense attorneys for both the state of Florida and Donald, more specifically, Donald's Department of Justice. Their unwillingness to halt construction prompted the temporary restraining order, with the judge saying, quote, "I don't want to find out when I wake up on Monday that the site has been altered when this is going on. That should not be a concern," unquote. Well, I mean, given the Trump regime's track record, good luck with that. While the site has not been totally shut down, construction is halted for at least 2 weeks, which throws a wrench in Donald's plan to house and deport as many immigrants as possible. There's more we need to learn about what is happening here, but the very fact that this prison exists at all and it exists where it is speaks to what the Trump regime is planning for the immigrants it continues to detain illegally and to disappear off of our streets. So luckily, there is a small percentage, at least, of judges who are not ceding any more ground. But the truth of the matter is, what happens if the Trump regime says, "Oh, well, yes, judge, we hear you, but we're going to do whatever we want to do anyway"? That then, again, is a potential crisis in which it's clear that the judiciary is not holding because there is no enforcement mechanism there. So in what universe can we say that the normal mechanisms by which administrations are held to account or impeded are actually working? Speaking of other things that aren't working, let's talk about those brilliant tariffs. I'm being completely sarcastic because the tariffs Donald has imposed unilaterally and unprovoked are a complete disaster. A sweeping number of these tariffs, affecting roughly 90 countries, went into effect at around 12 a.m. So I want to focus on how this completely pointless and, quite frankly, self-destructive trade war will affect regular citizens of this country. CNN provided some analysis on this earlier today, so let's take a look.
These are historic tariff levels not seen in nearly a century. We have not seen tariffs at these rates since the 1930s, and following that was the Great Depression. And all countries are being hit. The minimum is 10%, but then it's ratcheted up to 50% for some countries. There are many, many estimates to suggest what this may cost American families. The most recent estimate that we have is from the Yale Budget Lab just this month, projecting that because of all of these tariffs, if they stay in effect, it's going to cost the average family $2,400 a year. Obviously, that is significant, as Americans, we know, are worried about these tariffs, worried about their finances, worried about inflation. That is a significant hit to the average American family, Wolf.
I know it doesn't matter to the obscenely wealthy, like Donald Trump, but $2,400 per American family is a staggeringly high number. And it will have a serious negative impact on families' abilities to, you know, feed their children or pay for medical care, because remember, many, many, many of them won't have benefits anymore. I don't think phrases like Great Depression or worried about finances, inflation, and significant hit to the average American are the kinds of things we want to be hearing following a policy implementation. And phrases like that should certainly, you would think, alert the regime putting those policies in place to the fact that those policies are wrong and must be corrected. But with Donald in charge, of course, that will never happen, because course correcting means admitting you were wrong, and that also can never happen. Today, the New York Times dug into what items Americans will have to pay more for, as these tariffs go into effect. The Times found that, quote, some of the biggest price increases are expected in everyday categories such as clothing, food, and cars. And that is according to projections from the Budget Lab. In the short term, shoe prices are forecast to soar by 40%, while apparel costs could rise by 38%. Fresh produce prices are expected to increase 7%. The price of a new car could jump by $5,800 in the short run. It is obvious on its face that Donald does not know what he's doing, and his trade war is as moronic as he is. But that is cold comfort, because what really matters here is the serious impact all of this is going to have on American families, American consumers, the American taxpayer. Donald ran on the lie that he was going to fix inflation and that he was going to create jobs. Now, for reasons that quite frankly remain a mystery to everybody, including him most likely, he is deliberately trying to make things worse, perhaps simply because he's so ignorant and drunk on power that he thinks anything he does is a good thing, no matter how ill-informed. He's continuing to lash out against other countries. And it's becoming increasingly clear that his end game here is simply, through bullying, to get other world leaders to kiss his ass. Donald's tariffs are a disaster. But, and this shouldn't surprise us either, he and the Republican Party are intent, as they have been for a very long time now, on ruining the climate as well. This time, he is trying to claw back any climate progress we have made in recent years. The Interior Department under him has rapidly escalated its attacks on wind and solar power, issuing a string of policies threatening to halt renewable energy projects across the country. And I swear to God, if I hear Donald say anything about birds or whales, I may lose my mind. The department is adding new layers of political review to wind and solar projects, causing major permitting delays. It's also investigating, here we go, bird deaths linked to wind farms, and pulling millions of acres of federal waters from offshore wind development, almost certainly because Donald seems to be so deeply concerned about whales, which is weird and also irrelevant because windmills don't have any impact on whales. On top of that, the agency may revoke permits for previously approved projects that are now facing lawsuits, potentially halting some projects already under construction, which again would be a massive waste of taxpayer dollars. To top it off even further, the Transportation Department is pushing new restrictions on wind farms. This includes a 1.2-mile setback from highways and railroads, and an order for the FAA to reassess their aviation safety, a move that could impact nearly every wind project nationwide. I know this isn't that important, but the 1.2-mile setback from highways and railroads that's a massive undertaking. And also the question would be why? Are highways not a blight on our landscape? Like, would it really make highways worse if there were windmills right alongside them? Anyway, this regime will do anything and make up any excuse to impede the progress we have been very slowly, by the way, been making over the last couple of decades. It's not just policy that Donald and his regime are trying to change. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said this week that the department is updating the national climate assessments that have been previously published. Climate scientists are sounding the alarm that altering or revising previously published assessments would be a significant escalation in the Trump regime's attempts to wipe credible climate science off the record. Some of the regime's actions have been so disruptive that they've provoked backlash even from within the corrupt Republican Party. For example, this week, Governor Joe Lombardo of Nevada, a Republican, sent a letter to the Secretary of the Interior asking that the department slow down its harmful policies as Nevada's wind and solar farms, which are very big industries in that state, were suffering. A lot of this is being done in the name of saving money, right? So the question I never hear getting asked of Donald or the Interior Secretary or anybody with decision-making responsibilities in this area is, what good is saving a few bucks if by doing so we render our planet uninhabitable? It's Thursday. Almost there. We're almost there. What do we do? First, we breathe. Cleansing breath, however you want to do it, yoga breath, ocean breath, whatever works for you. You can do a little box breathing. I will not judge, because it is time for our emotional support moment. For today's ESM, we are going to check out some dogs. And honestly, I mean, dogs are awesome no matter what. I would be perfectly happy just watching a video of some puppies sleeping. But these dogs actually surf. In Pacifica, California, they held the World Dog Surfing Championships. The tournament features canine surfers competing in solo. Sorry, I'm just thinking about how adorable and, quite frankly, odd this all is. Like, how do you know if your dog likes to surf or if your dog is interested in surfing? I would love to be part of that conversation. Anyway, the contestants are judged on skill and style, and the goal is to raise funds for animal welfare and environmental charity. So let's watch this report from ABC 7 Baywatch. Just kidding. ABC 7 Bay Area News.
Surf's up for an annual favorite on the peninsula. Some very talented pets were competing today in the World Dog Surfing Championships in Pacifica. The competition started very early this morning on Lindemar Beach. Participants came from all over the country. They all wear life jackets for safety. They compete by size, and then in tandem, rounds of either double dog duos or dog-human pairings.
She's won her division now 3 times. We've won tandem 2 times. It's awesome. Go out, we have fun with our dog, and we bring all this smiles and joy to other people.
I hope you can see out of those ski glasses there. James, who you just heard from, and his dog Faith, took home another trophy today, but James says today's competition was Faith's swan song. She's calling it a career after this one. So he brought her out so she can ride off into the sunset one last time.
As well she should. And I want those goggles. That's awesome. I don't even know why, but maybe it was during the last Olympics because the surfing competition was held in Tahiti. And I don't think I'd ever watched a surfing competition before, and I got so into it. And they have, well, obviously, but I didn't know this. They have surfing competitions all over the world all year long, and it's awesome. It is an awesome, kind of terrifying sport, of which I stand in awe. But sorry, Olympians, watching dog surf is better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. And I have to hope the dogs enjoy it. I shouldn't be doing it. All right, let us get to your questions, comments, etc. Starting with Julia. Thank you very much, Julia. Who is, I hate having COVID feed. Do not skip me. I did not. And I would not. yes, COVID sucks. And I was actually, as some of you know, I had COVID a couple of weeks ago. It was a very mild case, so I consider myself lucky in that regard. But I was very, very tired. So I just kind of, since I had no energy, I just kind of lying around a lot thinking about stuff. And what occurred to me is, oh, I'm sick with a disease that shouldn't exist anymore. Yeah. Dorothy, thank you so very much. That's excellent. Comment, damn ICE for closing down on Asian market near me. Damn ICE, period. If ICE does not get dismantled the second Democrats get back into power, I don't know what I will do. I don't know if you heard, but apparently they're eliminating age requirements. So, like any 18-year-old who likes walking around in a face mask can become an ICE agent. As long as they're loyal to one certain person. Julia, wow, Julia gifted 10 Mary Trump Media memberships. That's fantastic and very generous. Thank you. Mida Cheryl gifted 1 Mary Trump Media membership. Mida Cheryl, thank you as always. That's awesome. Kim Nancy 965, thank you so very much for that. Kelly, Canada in the house. Elbows up, guys. Thank you, Kelly. Mida Cheryl, again. Thank you. So happy to have you, Mary, with us today. Fee. I'm very happy to be here. Oh, quick thing. I'm very sorry I was not here last night, but thank you, as always, to friend and fellow nerd adventurer Brian Karam for filling in. He did an amazing job, as always. I had to go sit Shiva, so that is why I was not here. So thank you for watching and supporting Brian, who, again, did a great job, as always. Jeff is a super sticker, and that's awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Lizzie Beth, thank you as always. And we have a Cats Watching Mary fee. Thanks, Cats. You rock. Champagne Hand saying hello, lovely at Jean Hodgson. Cool. Hello. Nanner, thank you as always. Excellent. Comment, totally off topic. I was watching you and Watch yesterday. Hubby walked by and I asked how old he thought you were. Sorry. He said about 40. I'm 5 years older than you. Am I insulted? No, I just think your husband needs to get his eyes checked, is what I think. But thank him for me. Also, the lighting was good. The Vaseline I put. No, I didn't. I am not. What is her name? What's that Arizonan woman who's constantly putting up Vaseline on her lens? I'm not her. I am proud to be as old as I am. Ish. But that, the only thing I could think is that your husband is funny. He was kidding. Diane, thank you very, very much. Comment, Judge temporarily halted construction at Alligator Alcatraz. Hope fee. Yep. Hope it is. Always. Regina Wolf, thank you as always. That's awesome. I am late fee. You get here when you get here. Although we do appreciate it. Julia, thank you very much. Comment, I saw 2 daddy long legs in my mom and I's, she owns it, condo unit today. Wow. I'm sorry. I have it used to be a phobia. It's not a phobia anymore. I'm not comfortable around spiders. I'm really not. I prefer not to be around them ever. But I don't react as badly as I used to. The exception to that was that daddy long legs never bothered me. I don't know why. But they bother you. I'm sorry. Just to reassure you, not that it matters if you're afraid of them, you're afraid of them, but they are completely harmless. I'll leave it at that. Laura, thank you very, very much. Comment, throwing water on ass cat next door fighting my cat fee. that's a good solution to that, because most cats do not like water, and it is an effective way to get them to stop what they're doing, and that is not good. I hate it when cats fight. It's so I hope your cat is okay. I hope both cats are okay, and I hope the other cat learns his or her lesson. Susan, as always, thank you so very much. Gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Fabulous. AJ Vintage, thank you very much. It's incredibly generous of you. Comment, the let's make the Constitution relevant again, Faye. Wouldn't that be phenomenal? Let's make it relevant and let's update it, shall we? I have some thoughts about the Second Amendment in particular, the First Amendment too, and a few others. I think we should start a group. Robert O, new member, welcome, and thank you so very much for joining. Julia, thank you very much. This is a dog treats fee because I'm a crazy dog lady. There is nothing crazy about loving dogs. So thank you. Mariana, member for 2 months. Thank you so much. It's good to have you here. AJ Vintage, wow. Again, thank you so much. Gifted 5 Mary Trump Media memberships. Most excellent. Jules plays Taps for Vets. Thank you very, very much. Book club today at 7 o'clock Eastern. Mary. No. And I'm very sorry if that was not communicated to you. So what I'm going to do is after this, I am going to jump into the notes section, or how, where we communicate with you guys, and we are going to work it out. It's been a bit of a week, so I appreciate the patience. And I'm really sorry that wasn't communicated to you, but it will happen, and I'll let you know. It'll happen as soon as it possibly can. I'm so looking forward to talking to you guys about The Bluest Eye. It's such a great book. That's written by Toni Morrison, so that kind of goes without saying, doesn't it? Kimberly, thank you very, very much. Comment, jobs offshored by the wealthy when top tax brackets were slashed because low taxes encouraged cash hoarding. Need for tax shelters was eliminated. Hoarding anything else is deemed a mental illness. I know. I've said this many, many times. I don't understand. We have in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual, there is a category of addiction for practically every substance or activity on the planet except wealth. And I don't get it. In the middle of nowhere, thank you so very much, as always. Comment. Question. What's with the charts? Was there a lack of participation in science fairs as a kid? Yeah. LOL. I recall arguing with someone during COVID who claimed there were more cases because of testing. Coverruption is my new descriptor. Yeah, exactly. If you report the numbers, then people are going to think that things are a particular way. If you tell people how many COVID cases are, they're going to think there are a lot of COVID cases. So let's just not tell them. That's basically how the first administration operated. It should not surprise us that it is how this this is how the Trump regime 2.0 is operating. Deborah, new member, thank you very much and welcome. Elaine, super sticker. Thanks, Elaine. That's fantastic. Rock and steady. Thank you as always. Comment. It feels like every day at the White House is an episode of the Jerry Springer Show these days. No kidding. Just wait until the wrestling matches start, or the ultimate fighting, or the MMA, or whatever. It's demoralizing and disgraceful, quite frankly. Diane, super sticker. Thank you very much for that, Diane. Elaine, thank you very, very much. And I love my big dogs fee. Big dogs are awesome, quite frankly. Kathleen, super sticker. Thank you very, very much. We really appreciate it. John, comment, Epstein. To which I say, yes, yes, yes. Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, Jeffrey Epstein. Never, ever, ever let people forget, and never, ever let them drop it, because seriously. Greg lets us know that there are skateboarding dogs too. Yeah, I bet. Again, though, like, how do they know they're interested in it? I'm very curious about that, quite frankly. Zella, thank you very much, as always. And this is for well-being wishes. Thank you. Yeah, we need all those that we can get, that's for sure. Broken all broken. Comment, I'd rather look at windmills than billboards when I drive. Yeah, I never understood the whole windmills are a blight on the landscape thing. I think they're really cool and they're effective and they serve a purpose and they could potentially save our planet from the destruction of the oil and gas industry, right? Just the wrong people are making money with the windmills, I guess. SF, cat person who appreciates dogs. I too am a cat person who appreciates dogs. I don't just appreciate them. I love them and I think they're awesome. Knucklehead. Wow, Knucklehead, that's fantastic. And really generous. Comment. Thank you for constantly upholding democracy. Fee. Rule of law, due process. We do not hate and do not fear. Immigrants are welcome here. Absolutely. All of that. Every word of that. Thank you. Jimmy, man, as always, sometimes I just don't even know what to say. But seriously, that's incredible. So comment. Thanks, Mayor. MTM, Mary Tyler Moore is proud of you. Oh, well, that would be incredible if she were. And so are we. Love for me in Dallas. Again, Jimmy, that is great. And yes, obviously, Mary Trump Media, Mary Tyler Moore. We thought of that. And it's a nice callback. Because I grew up watching that show and I adored Mary Tyler Moore. She was just incredible. I love that show. And also, quick story before we end. My name is Mary, as you know, and I have never referred to myself as anything else. 95% of the time when people meet me, within a minute, they're calling me Mayor, even though I've never told them to. And I never call myself that. But I kind of find it endearing. So, I mean, maybe it's because of the Mary Tyler Moore callback, and obviously it was Rhoda from New York who called her that. Anyway, thank you, Jimmy, so much. All right, guys, that does it for us. A couple of quick updates. We'll be back tomorrow with videos. As you know, the easiest way to support us is to subscribe to the channel. We're at over 453,000 subscribers now. Second easiest way, watch our pre-recorded videos, like them, share them, comment on them. Very important. Become a paid member of our YouTube channel. They're all different levels of subscription. And spread the word. It's very important. I am traveling over the next few days. So there will be videos tomorrow. There will be videos throughout the weekend. But I will not be available for live tomorrow night. However, the absolutely awesome Waj Ali, friend and fellow Nerd Adventure, will be guest hosting. So please watch, support him. You know how great he is. And there will not be an Ask Mary Anything Within Reason on Sunday because I am on a panel in Las Vegas and it's a 3-hour time. So the panel's at 2:00, but it's a 3-hour time difference. And I can't, unlike Donald, I can't change the laws of physics. So sadly, I'm not going to be able to do that. But we will keep you posted along the way. Also, on Monday, there won't be a live because it's Mary Trump Media Mental Health Day. So we will be back in full force on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. But please, again, watch tomorrow night, support him, send him love in the comments. You know how awesome he is. That does it for us, though. And I will see you Tuesday for the live. In the meantime, everybody. Oh, wait, I forgot. I totally forgot. My apologies. First of all, moderators, thank you. You rock. Secondly, my team. I have the best team in the business. So, as always, thanks, guys, for rolling with it and showing up and being your awesome selves and doing your incredible work every day. I so appreciate you, and I know that everybody in this community does as well. All right, that does it. I'll see you guys Tuesday. In the meantime, everybody, please stay safe and be kind. Bye.